morning, colleagues, comrades, friends. To this morning's program, where we are launching the 20 principles for reliable, inclusive, and credible elections in Zimbabwe. Price. I want to first speak to you about an election that excites me. In 1927 in Liberia, where the presidential candidate, Charles Biki, was elected, and the official turnout for that election, after calculations, was 1,680% as a result of Biki. There were only about 2,000 registered voters, and he got over 200,000 votes in that election in Liberia in 1927. So today we are here to deal with that problem that emanated from an election like that, 1927, and this is 2020. We are still trying to cure the problem of an unequal electoral field and rigged elections. So without taking much of your time, I just want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us in this very important discussion and deliberation and the launch of the prize. I will take this moment to invite our Vice President, Honorable Tengai Ngiti, to give us the welcome remarks.
Thank you, Maureen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Our President, Advocate, our Secretary for Elections, Advocate Jacob Mafume, distinguished members of the diplomatic corps. Today is a great day for our calendar. It's the movement for democratic change. It's going to be a very tough year for us, a year we have dubbed the year of action, the year of people's action, and the year of a people's government. We set at the beginning of the year and came up with an agenda based on 5 big issues, the big 5 issues that we are going to concentrate on as a movement for democratic change. Things that are going to define our agenda for 2020. The first issue among those issues is the agenda of a people's government, political and legal reforms. The second one is the agenda for human dignity and restoration of people's livelihoods. The third one is, of course, the fight against the corruption. The fourth one is the fight for protection of people's rights. And the fifth one is the fight to defend the Constitution, particularly in light of the threat from Mr. Mnangagwa vis-à-vis Constitutional Amendment number 2. So today we are executing and implementing agenda number 1, reforms. The issue of elections is so key in our discourse. They've been contested since 1980. It's been a contested one. So it's been a wave and wave and wave of contested elections. So we are walking the talk to give an answer, to provide an answer on alternative version of what an electoral playing field should be. And so it's a very important document that we are privileged to launch. We have to pay a price with our own lives. We have to pay sacrifice. And that's this document is doing that literally and metaphorically. So I want to welcome each and every one of you who has graced us with your presence. It's history in the making. All of us know that Zimbabwe has become so fluid that there's nothing that is linear. Things are happening on a multiple level. Every day brings something. Some of you may have read the IMF Article 4 report on bad government, corruption, and Mnangagwa, which is a summary of madness, if you like. So everything is happening so quickly. So without without much ado, I welcome you here on behalf of our proud government. This is very important a day in which we are implementing the people's agenda. I thank you very much.
So I forgot to give a small apology. In the morning we were supposed to start at 10 o'clock, but due to unforeseen circumstances, we ended up starting an hour later. This is we are a bit tight on time. I understand that your schedules are busy and you would also want to be somewhere else. So what we are going to do is that we are going to the main presentation on the document before we go into the keynote address by the President. In the document, like I said, is called price. And in this document, I've gone through it. It's a very powerful panacea to the problem we have of elections. I think it speaks to a general electoral framework and it's drawn from international best practices, from observer mission reports, and from our own experiences on the inadequacies of the election in Zimbabwe. Councillor Mafume, who's our Secretary for Elections, is going to take us through the document. He's just going to give us an abridged version. But after the event, we'll have a few copies to share, and then we'll also be able to share some e-copies with you. This is a document that we hope you will interact with, and you will understand where we think the elections are having inadequacies and what we think are the corrective measures that must be taken. So I'll give this time to Councillor Mafume to walk us through the document. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President, Vice President, diplomats here present, honorables, ladies and gentlemen. We have called this document PRICE, which is the Principles for Reliable, Inclusive, and Credible Elections in Zimbabwe. PRICE. This is the price we have to pay for us to be able to get an election disputable, an election that reflects of the people, and an election that restores legitimacy. It's backed and based on the desire to provide an alternative electoral bill, which alternative electoral bill is based on these principles. And these principles will then be reflected in the letter of the alternative electoral bill. The principles are as follows. First of all, I'll try to indicate where we got these principles. There is a SADC model law on election that was promulgated by all the SADC states, which model law is supposed to be streamlined into the electoral laws of the SADC nations. The SADC law is one of the best model laws that are on the continent. And ironically, it is by the SADC states. And we borrow heavily from the best international practices in that model law. So most of the things that we are saying here are not alien, are not things that our states, including ours, have not committed to. We also borrow from the multi-observer missions, the EU observer mission, the Commonwealth observer mission, the NDIRI observer mission, and the various observer missions whose reports have come out. As you are aware, the SADC observer mission report, the full text is still to come out. But those observer reports that have come out, that we have been given, we have mainstreamed them into these principles. We've also looked at the issues that ZEC itself has put in its own report. ZEC has done a report which it is to present to Parliament. We've also looked at the material and the things that they've said they will do. We've also looked at the cabinet matrix that has been produced by cabinet. source document of some of the things that we put here, the best practices that are there. So the first principle is that one, the supremacy of the Constitution must be the guiding principle in ensuring a free and fair election. As you are aware, we have had a new constitution which has not been aligned with the various laws. Various laws in the constitution, various laws that are forming part of our legislation are behind what the constitution says. What we've been seeking for is an alignment of the constitution. We are aware that there are now efforts to amend it before it is yet to be implemented. And one of the key issues that we have, and one of the key reforms that should happen, is the alignment of the Electoral Act to the Constitution. And the things that we detail below are the things that are aligned. And the key issue in the Constitution was the separation of powers between the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary, so that at least they can work independently of each other and be able to form a constitutional democracy that embraces constitutionalism. So one of the issues will be an independent electoral management board. It is our view, and the contestations around ZEC are public knowledge. It is our view that the electoral management body is structurally not independent, legally not independent, and in practice not independent. There are many aspects of it that are still controlled by the Minister of Justice, who ironically is a key actor. He himself is normally a contestant in the election. Apart from being a contestant in an election, our main competitor has the bizarre practice of making the Minister of Justice the chief election in the presidential election. So what happens is that where ZEC is reporting to is actually the chief election agent of the contestant in a presidential election. So that is the structural anomaly, only acceptable in Zimbabwe, only happens in Zimbabwe. And in addition to that, he also happens to be a contestant in one of the constituencies, as it were. So we need, but the independence of it all is in the manner of the appointment, the manner of term limits of some of the commissioners. We have had one of the commissioners who has been there in the commission, I think Joyce, since commission have started. She has been in every election, right from the Zoom election, where the advocates were saying that there are many ways to die. One of the ways to die is voting Zoom. And that was an electoral advocate by SlyMedia. So that appointment process, we deal with it. Then, 3, strengthening the independence of that is accountable to Parliament, characterized by operational and administrative autonomy in the proper organization of electoral laws and the management of internal affairs. And this is what I also touched on. The statutory instruments have to be approved by the Minister of Justice. Its reports have to be taken to Parliament by the Minister of Justice. The employment of key staff has to be approved by the state. Its budget, invitation of observers, and its report has to go via the Minister of Justice. This is a Chapter 12 institution that must and should have right of audience directly to Parliament and should have its budget done directly from the consolidated revenue. Even cannot ask for donor funds without the approval of the executive, wherein the approval of the funding should be the preserve of Parliament rather than the executive. The transparency and accountability of ZEC in the implementation of all electoral processes and the institutionalization of permanent stakeholder consultative platforms. Now, at the current moment, because the law is institutionalized the consultation of government, so therefore, the editor in the election is consulted as of right by law. So if they need to push amendments, for instance, they want to push the amendment delinking the census from the vote in terms of delimitation that is going to occur shortly. They've inputted that demand into government and to parliament. So the consultative process, as far as a key competitor is concerned, is already institutionalized and operationalized by law. That request or that desire, they have not consulted the MDC, they have not consulted any other party. We've just saw in the newspapers that ZEC is requiring that the constitution be changed so that we delink the census with delimitation in the constitution. As a way of background, delimitation had been suspended because of the agreements. It has been suspended until this year. It has been suspended for 10 years, so there has not been any delimitation. And delimitation of the constitution must be done within this, after. And they want that delinked. Because of the absence of a permanent consultative forum, they've not consulted all the parties. They've not consulted other key stakeholders at a non-forum. So we need to operationalize consultative platforms and to make sure that they are not one-sided as is done by law. Strengthening the principle of universal adult suffrage, its applicability to all eligible citizens regardless of residence status, diaspora, physical infirmity, age, or imprisonment. Imprisonment speaks for itself. The diaspora vote is still an issue. Political rights are given by the Constitution to all citizens, notwithstanding their geographical location. And that is a key clause in the Constitution. And as such, it is our proposal, our firm belief that diaspora voting is contained in this Constitution. And as such, should be implemented by ZEC, because the voting has not been limited. The right to vote has not been limited by the Constitution by any geographical location. And the fact that they still do not do it, and in any event, the irony is that there is a limited diaspora voting that they do if you are in at an embassy or you are on government operation. So it's not that they don't have the mechanics of implementing the diaspora vote. They are doing it, but only to a selected group of citizens. But the Constitution has given rights to everybody. So they know how to do the diaspora vote. They've done the diaspora vote, but they simply deny it to the rest of the voting population, which is a fair, transparent, inclusive delimitation process devoid of political interference, biased persuasion, conducted by a professional, impartial body with a clearly defined operational framework. Now, delimitation in our law, if you look at it, it's contained in the Constitution. And once it's contained in the Constitution, no other law carries issues of delimitation except the power given to the president to create administrative words when it comes to local authorities. In other words, the president can create a local authority and demarcate its boundaries. I think the recent created one is in Chibi, where he comes from. So he has created an administrative authority there which might require new boundaries done for delimitation. But besides that, in terms of parliamentary, it should be done under the Constitution. Once you leave the Constitution, one of the key issues is that it must be done soon after a census. Then it must be done taking into consideration groups that are alike, geographical locations, the movement, ease of movement within a locality, and it is also done normally within a broad framework. They divide the people in the voters' roll, they come up with a median, they give a minus or plus range. In other words, the current theoretical median is 27,000 according to the current limitation. So they do a minus 5,000 and a minus 5,000 upwards. Now, and that's what the Constitution says. There is no enabling legislation that then says who does it, which government departments are used, what is the qualifications of the one who delimits, which board who do you appeal to? In other words, the president, under the current setup, the president gives a report to Parliament. He is not obliged to follow what Parliament says. If Parliament disagrees, he does the second report, it is final. So there is no appeal. And we all know that the president is an interested party. And this delimitation, in the past, the reason it was suspended, it caused a lot of anguish. I'll give you a big example. The president of ZANU-PF, not the president of Zimbabwe, the president of ZANU-PF is unelectable by any stretch of imagination. In Kwekwe, he failed to be elected twice. After failing to be elected twice, he then created a constituency called Zimbabwe. That constituency followed ZANU-PF farm. So this constituency has no relation to reality. It just starts in the middle of nowhere and it was simply created for him and subsequently his wife, so that he could be elected. So that is what will probably happen again if the election, what is known as gerrymandering. So we need that law, and we've designed a model process of how to do limitation. 7, a liberalized, comprehensive, inclusive, and continuous voter education partnership between ZEC, political parties, CSO, and other relevant stakeholders. We need voter registration and voter education that is continuous. And we also cannot start a delimitation process without a voter registration list, because you have not warned the people that they might lose constituencies, they might lose wards, they might lose a lot of other things within that process. So you need to have a clear roadmap on how the voter education and voter registration will be conducted. Voter registration should be characterized by bare minimum principles of continuity, trust, inclusivity, accuracy, transparency, and automatic registration of first-time voters. This is by no means one of the measures that we need. In other states, for example, Australia, when you are getting your ID, you also get your voter registration process. We are proposing that it's a right to vote. Therefore, in as much as it is a right to get an identity card and so forth, one should be voted, should be registered automatically. It produces its challenges in terms of auditability of the voters' roll and auditability of the election. But we feel that if it is done right, it allows the registration of first-time voters and includes everyone in the decision-making of the country. And independently, auditable voters' roll that is accurate, verifiable, and readily accessible to all electoral stakeholders in a format that allows for electoral planning and analysis. Now, it has to be auditable. It has to be verifiable. Up to now, we have not been given a copy of the biometric voters roll. It is still a preset of ZEC. What they are giving us is another Excel sheet, an Excel spreadsheet of what the voters roll looks like. They don't give us the biometric voters roll. It's the only country in the world where the face, except maybe some, where the face has been deemed a private document. So they've gone to a bizarre interpretation where it's private. So therefore we cannot give it. But everyone walks with their face outside. How does it become a private document or possession? A free and fair, I'll go fast just in time because of time. A free and fair and even electoral environment with the enforceable code of conduct upholding the citizens' fundamental freedoms and rights. The issue of an enforceable code of conduct is key. I've complained about Matematanda's behavior in the by-election in Lupani, in the by-election in Kuazan. They commandeer government medicine, government boreholes. The current example is he has taken a ton of rice to Kuazan. And they've taken tons of food. They've weaponized weaponized food. They've weaponized state. Now, when you weaponize food for votes, it becomes a problem. And you can't wait for an election petition to complain about such brazen conduct. We need ZEC to deal with it. We wrote 3 letters to ZEC. The response was that is a police matter. That is a ZAC matter. We as ZEC are powerless because those you have described to us are criminal offenses. In terms of the Constitution, ZEC has all the power. It must ensure a free and fair and transparent election. And if it is seeing that the behavior of a party is not going to lead to a free and fair, transparent election, it has all the powers in the Constitution to stop that behavior. You go to the police, it gets stuck. Because the police are being controlled by a key actor. He's the same person who's banning our rallies for us to campaign in that place in the first place. He's the same person that the opponent is being unfair. The person who is stopping you from campaigning. It's ridiculous. So that is why we talk about enforceable codes of conduct, which has to be enforced by ZEC. A gender-inclusive electoral process with increased youth and women participation and representation. The Constitution says 50-50. That has to be implemented. We need to find an electoral method that allows for 50-50 representation. In South Africa, they've used a completely proportional representation method, and in other countries, there are methods in that we've proposed in this model law. Free observer accreditation undertaken by an independent panel, checked by the AMB, ensuring full throttle observation of the electoral cycle. I mean, you cannot simply invite observers that are friends of your opponent. The Minister of Foreign Affairs is the one who deals with the invitation, and he invites friends. And anyone else who's deemed to be a friend of another opponent is a problem. Adjudication of election disputes in a fair and timeless manner, and strengthening the complaint's right to be heard and to an appropriate legal remedy. The Chegutu example is the one in mind. The election petition, our presidential election petition, is a case in mind. In Chegutu, ZEC itself says we counted wrongly. That process is still stuck. We have Nduna, who stole an election in Chegutu. And as life would have it, that person is the same person who is a problem in Parliament. He has paralyzed the Public Account Committee. He is the one who is being bought by all the corrupt cartels in the country. And because ZEC allowed him to go in with thievery, if you tell that person that crime, stealing does not pay, he will laugh at you. You say, I am a thief, but I'm called honorable. It's because of a lack of a credible adjudication system. I can go on and talk about the presidential election and so forth. But we need to move. Professional, impartial, publicly scrutinized election officials with no traceable membership to any political party, no linkage to any security sector institution. Since time immemorial, ZEC has had a chief executive who comes from the security sector. Nikayaramba, the last one came from the president's office. Sekeramai, before he died, was from the president's office. The current head is a major. So they made sure, and it is not clear whether those persons who leave the security sector have retired. In many cases, they would not have retired. Nikayaramba was managing the elections. Suddenly, when he left that body, he became a quartermaster in the army to show that they still have the linkages. I think you should get us correctly. We are not saying former members of the security sectors have no role in civilian life after they retire. It must be traceable. And the retirement must be clear. And the conduct of the person must show that they must exercise independence. In other words, they must be qualified for what they need to be doing. The mischief, if you look at the biography that was issued after they appointed Major SlyMedia, they left out and omitted that he had ever worked in the armed forces. I'm now left with my last three principles. Transparency and auditability of the procurement system, design, reproduction, and distribution of all sensitive elections. Printed, who gets the tender for the computers and the materials, and how are they done and are they independent. Fairness and transparency and accessibility in the allocation of polling stations, permanently gazetted by law within a specific radius, within reach to the elderly and other voters with physical mobility challenges. We have had instances of polling stations in farms, in barracks, in police stations, and other areas. Special voting processes should be transparent, guarantee universal suffrage, and must protect the secrets of the vote of all eligible voters unable to access their polling station on duty on the day of voting. This is a particular problem in 2013 and was a particular problem currently. Assisted voting may be sought on account of people with disability, illiteracy, physical infirmities, and must be endorsed on the voters' roll, and the list are held to candidates, polling agents, and observers to allow for scrutiny. Now we have a problem where people who are thought to have an inclination to the opposition, if you are a headmaster, you are told that you must say you can't see where to put an X. If you are a teacher, you don't know where to put an X. We need that to be legislated in the manner that we've described. An effective and reliable voter verification system, electoral fraud, multiple voting, and voter impersonation. A common, inclusive, transparent, traceable, auditable management and system of all the presidential, parliamentary, and local authority election results. Now, this is what the last election was. Movement presidential, how it is to be counted. Is it not real time? We're a small voting population, but we produce our votes later than an American population, almost later than the Indian population, with the biggest voting role in the world of close to 500 million people. But our election results are always later than those. We need them to be done in real time, to be done timeously, and to be broadcast as immediately as they are finished. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are the 20 principles that cover the reforms that we require within the electoral age. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mashime, for that elaborate summary on the 20 principles. The document goes on to give you the alternative electoral bill, recommendations to the alternative electoral bill, and the current status of the Zimbabwe electoral laws. It's a very comprehensive document, so I would really encourage you to take a look at it at a later stage. Due to our time, I think we could not speak us through the whole document, but it touched on important aspects. I think it speaks to the issue of gender inclusivity and youth participation in elections, the diaspora votes, and I think the point is that ZEC is structurally incompetent to deal with elections and to deliver a free and fair election. He also makes some and total of it is that we want to push for an environment that is free and fair, where citizens' rights are afforded due respect, and where elections are not contested, as in the culture in the past. Talking of contested elections, I think when we speak about the Zimbabwean struggle from the liberation time up to now, this has always been a demand. To quote that I says, our demands are just and legitimate. We demand a free and fair election where international observers oversee. This is something he said in 1979 during the Lancaster House negotiations, when he was on the sidelines, also supporting the team that was on the table. And we've continued with this demand. I think until 2018, where we went into the election, that was reached the heights of the incompetences of the Electoral Commission to deliver a free and fair election. I think was very apparent in the 2018 election, where our president, Advocate Chamisa, was the leading candidate and the winning candidate in the election, but was not afforded the opportunity to career and pushing, and also in our political programs. But I will leave just a moment and time for our president to at least share with us how this document is going to be made practical. Mr. President, say.
Thank you, leadership. First of all, just to appreciate our MC, Kalemaunga, and the elections practice was led by a very short man. You know, the is coming small. Honorable Advocate Mafume, as deputized by Ellen Shiedenga. Thank you very much for the good work and for what you've done. We appreciate the amount of work that you've put into this. I'm sure I'm better off without this thing. Technology is always an inconvenience. Let me appreciate and acknowledge our Vice President, Honorable Biti, here present, our Senior Leadership Secretary General Wende, our Deputy Secretary General Mnangagwa, members of the Standing Committee, colleagues from the National Executive, our members of Parliament, that is the House of Assembly and Senate. I also see our councillors who have embraced this occasion. Sure, the Mayor in absentia and the entire team from Council. I wish to also acknowledge our members of the Diplomatic Corps who are here present. We appreciate your presence and thank you for coming, both from the capitals in Europe, Americas, the Asiatics, Australasia, and of course, those from the African continent. We are here today to launch a document that has already been addressed to you, a document that gives us a framework and a context of what we are going to be emphasizing as a party. The document is not being plucked from nowhere. It is a context. That context is wide consultation with a lot of our grassroots structures across the provinces of our country. So it is a grassroots-driven document, a people-driven document, which is people-centered and people-focused, people-based, and people-backed. This is not a theoretical or an intellectual document that has just been produced by individuals in some offices. These are the aspirations of Zimbabweans in terms of what they want to see in free and fair elections in Zimbabwe. This document has a context too. We used, in terms of its raw material, the International Observer Mission reports from the European Union, from the NDI, the RI, in the context of the US-based observer missions, from the Commonwealth, and also from the Union and SADC. So this document is populated by recommendations that are not novel, but things that have always been emphasized by other internationally acclaimed institutions that have competence in passing a verdict on the freeness and credibility of elections. This document is also informed by SADC principles on free and fair elections, the guidelines that we would want to see for free and fair elections in Zimbabwe. We are also mindful of the fact that this is not the first time we have produced this document as MDC always believe in this. As you know, historically, we have always had documents that were put on the table so that we are able to then have we believe that nation building is not a solo effort. We believe that in nation building, nobody has the monopoly of all the bricks and all the wisdom. In nation building, each brick is important, and we do not have all the bricks, but this brick, we feel that this is the cornerstone and this is the foundational stone in order for us to cure the ailments and deficiencies that have affected our country historically. You're also aware that contextually, within SADC, we have seen an increase and rise in disputed elections. We have also seen an increase and rise in the propensity to want to have elections just as a ritual, but elections being cooked, manufactured, manipulated. In some cases, people use V11s, manipulating them. In other circumstances, they use TPEX for those who are less advanced. Those who are more advanced, they always use other, Excel spreadsheets to try and manipulate and even run away from the verdict of the people. And in those cases, we've also seen that the courts have also been abused by those in authority to rubber stamp, rigged, manipulated, and stolen elections, which has been a dominant, the situation within our region. But we have been fortified by the situation within our region in Malawi, but of course on the continent in Kenya, where we have seen that the courts have played a pivotal role in being the guardians of justice and the guarantors of the rights of the people, particularly once the people have passed their verdict, have also voted, and they've had their voice, which has to be respected. So this is the context. We have come with this document within the context of all these other efforts. As you know, we've done almost 5 or so documents. The first one was Restore. Our Restore document was, if we are to restore our country in terms of democracy and legitimacy, we need to do the following. It was ignored. We came up with Rename, which was basically no election, no reforms document. It was ignored. We came up with COSEX, which are conditions for sustainable elections in Zimbabwe. Again, that document was ignored. We then did, just before the elections, we did a document, which was a summary of the conditions we would want to see for a credible elections. And we had foreseen this, that we would have a disputed election, and once we have a disputed election, then be able to marshal them in confidence and in trust to move forward to resolve our challenges. So we came up with Peace, which was a plan for a credible election in Zimbabwe. Peace was disregarded, ignored by my brother, Emerson. And of course, we went into an election. They did what they did through the Excelgate scandal. And right now, the nation has no confidence in the direction that they're trying to take and fashion. That tells you that we've had, historically, an attempt to try and find a peaceful solution to the problems in Zimbabwe. But they've mistaken our propensity and affinity for peace for a weakness. They think that when we call for peace, it's because we have no other instruments to be able to produce conditions that will induce delivery and passage or birth of a new Zimbabwe. We do have, but we do know that on the African continent, we've paid dearly and heavy wherever we've had anarchy, chaos. In any event, those of us who are in the alternative have nothing to lose because we do not own property, we do not own any building, we have no farms, we have no mines, they have everything. So if there is to be instability, they are the first customers when it comes to their losses. And we'll be able to then sympathize with them, but they must know that we are not doing this because we are foolish. We are doing this because we know that the price to be paid by any nation for anarchy and chaos is so unbearable for the citizens. We saw it in Angola, we saw it in Sudan, We saw it in Somalia. We saw it in DRC. We do not want to be forced very soon to then focus on that. Let me emphasize that these principles for a reliable and inclusive, credible election in Zimbabwe that is consciously chosen. We know that there is a price to be paid, but that price is only predicated upon doing certain fundamentals. And we've said that in order for us to be able to go the way of a credible election, let us adopt those 20 principles. We are also conscious of the fact that those of us in politics on the other side, in ZANU have emphasized that they want to have a cabinet committee that will focus on reforms. But we are saying, you can't have national solutions on the basis of a partisan platform. If you want a national solution to be instituted, to come about, there has to be a common platform. This is why we've said Pollard is a non-starter, because it's unilateral, it's partisan, it's coming from an individual. An individual who does not have the mandate of the people, would want a proper platform for the resolution of our. So the cabinet committee on reform is also a waste of time, because it will not address the issues that are supposed to be addressed. Our alternative is for us to have a multi-stakeholder platform out of all the political players, civic society, to then come up with their own documents. I know ZESMI have already done their model. I know that our colleagues in ERC, Election Resource Center, are also working on their own document. We are saying this is our own document. We do not claim to have the monopoly of all the ideas, but we are saying that this is our big idea. And let that big idea be part of the ideas that are going to constitute the comprehensive solution to our problems in Zimbabwe. So yes, we do know that there are issues that are being implemented, but this is our humble suggestion on the way forward. We are also aware of the fact that, we've had cycles of disputed elections since 1980. Even Zoom had problems, ZAP had problems, Forum had problems, Zud and my sister Margaret Longo had problems. We have had problems with these guys, just like Damaning's United Parties, and then I think the new name, they had problems historically. So the issue of disputed elections has always been perennial in this country. And it has been the source of instability in this country. So we've had a reproduction of an illegitimate regime since 1980. So ZANU-PF is not the People's Party. It is the party that is produced out of manipulation of systems that have been instituted for that purpose. So we are aware that as we go into the launch of this document, we have to understand that we are settled with a disputed 2018 election. Some have said, please, let's. We will not focus on what is not there. We do not want to go to 2023 until we have resolved our past gaps, our past election. That has not been resolved. It is foolhardy to think that a disputed and democratic rigged election in 2023 will be the solution to Zimbabwean problems. Zimbabwe's problems cannot be resolved by an election in 2030, in 2050, which is disputed, which is not based on credible conditions. That's why we are saying, if we are able to resolve these issues, the better, so that we are not going to reproduce. People have always had premature excitement on account of processes that are then terminated once the election then comes. So we need to be able to deal with this so that we are robust in resolving our 2018 dispute as a way of paving way for any future elections and the credibility of those elections. So we will not proceed to respect the delimitation process until we have resolved the issue of the independence of ZEC. A non-independent ZEC can't resolve delimitation. You can't say let's go and focus on delimitation now. We are simply institutionalized and let. And you know, gerrymandering is from Governor Gary. Some say Governor Jerry from the United States of America, who was in the habit of redrawing the boundaries of the electoral constituency or district. Once he realized that he's no longer popular on that other corner, he will make sure that he avoids that corner. He goes to the fresh one who do not know him. What you a dramatist. So we don't want a gerrymandering exercise disguised as delimitation. And this is why they are trying to run away from a consensus around a process that is driven by conditions for free and fair election. And they are running away from a scientific process. That's why they don't want the census to be linked to the issue of delimitation. Because they want to do everything under the cover of darkness on the basis of conjecture and guesswork. That is what we are trying to avoid. There is no electoral act regime and regulations to govern delimitation as we speak. And that presents problems going forward. On what basis and how is that delimitation going to be done? What are the fundamental indicators? What are the indices and the factors that are being factored into it? There is no clarity on that. So we want this issue to be sorted out. We are not introducing new things. All the conditions we have put in here are heavily captured within the spirit of the Constitution. Section 155, 156, on the conditions, character of elections that are supposed to be held around free and fair elections. If we are on political rights. So we are very clear on what we are putting before the nation. We are putting it on the table because we know that if we are to have any processes to do with elections in Zimbabwe, they have to be undertaken on the basis of agreed reforms. And they must be underscored to say, if we don't have these reforms, there will be no election. Some have said, MDC is saying they are not going to participate in it. We can't boycott national processes and ourselves. But any election process that does not respect conditions for fair and fair is not national and cannot be an election. But we'll make sure that there is no election which is not an election. We are sick and tired of rituals. We are sick and tired of just fixing ourselves on a calendar which does not produce real outcomes for the people of Zimbabwe. So that is the context. Context within which we have brought this framework how to have elections conducted in Zimbabwe. So we have offered a fight in the resolution of the crisis in Zimbabwe. And we have said this to Mr. Mnangagwa. This is a modest plan to resolve problems in this country. Number one, let's have a shared understanding on the crisis we have in this country. In ZANU-PF are saying the crisis in Zimbabwe is a crisis of the economy. The economy is a manifestation of a deeper crisis. The crisis in Zimbabwe is a governance crisis. It is a political crisis. A crisis born out of disputed elections that are discredited, a hitman's crisis. That is the source. So if you cure malaria where you are supposed to cure BP, blood pressure, you will end up with a worse sickness. And the patient is going to be worse. That's why we are where we are. We are grappling with millimilk. Not because, it has become a governance issue. Because we do not know how to solve issues that are supposed to be resolved. The political crisis must be resolved politically. And we are not only we are the solution to our own problems. We are the answers to our own questions. We don't expect South Africans to help our issues. Because they also have their own issues. We can't expect Europe, the United States of America, to solve our issues. They have their own issues in their own domestic jurisdictions. We must do our own bit. And this is why we are saying, here are the ideas. If you don't want to listen to ideas, we'll have to cause peace and pressure upon you so that you see the wisdom of listening to ideas. That is what we have done. They will try all sorts of, tactics, arrests, whatever. We don't care. Until the issues in Zimbabwe are resolved, we want to make sure that we all come together to resolve the issues that we have to resolve. The The nature of the crisis must be shared by the whole country. And in order for us to share, we can't outsource the resolution of our crisis. I've heard a lot of people making a lot of value-laden judgments on making this and that. No. We are our own liberators. We are our own solution in the context of our elections. And we must lead ourselves out of fear, out of ignorance, out of docility, out of passivity, and make sure that our country is given a new lease of life. Our colleagues in ZANU-PF have no solution. They have no ideas other than to chant slogans. Right now they are blaming us, it's because of the MDC. You can't blame one who is not responsible, unless if you are saying that they are the ones who are responsible. That's what it is. If I don't have a meal in my own family, I can't blame the neighbor, unless if I know that the neighbor is the one who is the authority over my house. That's what it is. So yes, we respect their faith and confidence in us to say that you are the only ones who can give us solutions. But they must not come to us in an adversarial manner. They must come and seek wisdom. And we cause a direction to resolve the issues. The second issue is the comprehensive reforms that we want to see in this country. We have brought this. This is just one element of the comprehensive reforms, the electoral bit, and we want these ideas to then formulate and form the basis of our engagement going forward. The third issue is, of course, building the nation. We've always made the point that, yes, we have a country, but we don't have a nation. A nation is about institutions, ideas, a republic, programs. That's what a nation is. A nation is not about subjects. We are just a country. We need to make sure we become a nation by building this nation, by nationally healing. I see now in my and destroy evidence of their past omissions and commissions by saying we want to have agent rebellion. Why are you fast tracking what you have delayed over the years? Let us take our time to heal the wounds and then heal from below, heal from the bottom, going up. Don't impose solutions. Parachuted solutions are not solutions. They're actually a basis of fresh wounds. And I hope that they will understand that. We cannot go into Machiavellian, try to rush processes. We need a bottom-up approach. We need truth-telling. We need accountability, restorative justice, rehabilitative justice, so that we're able to move together as a country. We've told them, if they listen, we'll really appreciate. The fourth issue is obviously international re-engagement. But we've told them, we can't have international re-engagement until we have had national re-engagement. Because one fits into the other. Let's engage nationally and have a compact story. It's what in a second in here. Spain. And one will bring a solution. Why? Because we are going to be getting this from the bundle of trust, the bundle of confidence. We have a bundle of integrity. Our colleagues do not have, because they don't live according to their... Look at the SMP. It's dead now. Why? Because they did not honor what they had promised they were going to do. They told people that Zimbabwe is open for business. But they started closing down factories. Even those who want to come and do business, their mining rights are being taken, and land is being taken. There's no law. Those in authority are the law. That can't be a country. We need the restoration of the rule of law. Property rights. Let's have predictability, confidence. Everyone must feel secure. That's why one of our key rights is the security of persons, the security of property, the security and rights of property. Last but not least is obviously the humanitarian question. The economic issues. Dead bodies don't benefit from democracy. People have to be alive for them to enjoy democracy. A roof over a when you are alive. Yes. A dollar in your pocket is only valuable if you are breathing. Democracy is meaningless. So we need to make sure that we avert starvation. Most of the people are food insecure in the rural areas. We need that humanitarian intervention. We need a solution. Civil servants have no money. I see now there's a new tax that has been imposed. You know, you don't understand where they are coming from. ED and Mutuli. Which planet do you live? Which planet do you live on? You have not gone to parliament, there's no law, you are just coming. Even those who run a tax show have the decency of consulting. To say, how are we going to run this tax show? We need a family sector. What kind of leadership is this? I'm now beginning to believe Mugabe was right when he said, I don't have a successor. He was right. He was right. We used to think that he was lying until we have seen his successor. We now know that he was right. But of course, we told President Mugabe that you have succeeded yourself successively, over and over. There is a problem. There's no success without a successor. You know, you must have first one. Here we are. The humanitarian issue has to be dealt with, and this is why, in this context, we are happy and proud to say to Zimbabwe, this is our modest solution to a credible election. The principles were reliable and God. Who is in it? In everything that we are going to do.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you, Excellency, sir. This document, as you've said, is the cornerstone and foundational stone in our efforts to restore democracy in Zimbabwe. Those are key. Without trying to summarize your keynote address, which was very comprehensive and also touching on other issues beyond the elections and the price document that we are launching, I'm going to briefly open a plenary to take a few questions, to seek with our His Excellency President Chamisa, and also particularly on the document, the price. I think our elections department, Councillor Makume, Leader Ellen Chiendenga, ready and prepared to answer a few questions to clarify if you have issues that you want to clarify. So I'm going to open, and I'm going to hand over to Honorable Makume to just take a round or two of questions.
Yeah, we'll just take maybe one round. You? Is there another one? Okay. Is there a hint there? Okay, that's fine. So I only have 1 minute, so we'll deal with that.
At some point, Professor Jonathan Moore is on record as saying ZANU-PF will not reform themselves out of power. With this prescription that you have to the public to scrutinize and maybe to support as seen here, do you think even with other stakeholders that are putting together some nuggets for this reform are also going to bring them forward? Do you think ZANU-PF will reform themselves out of power? Because the instruments they are using may be their own cornerstone for them to remain in power. If they don't subscribe to this prescription, what are you going to do? To everyone.
We must all understand that ZANU-PF has the habit of saying things that it won't happen. They've always said that they will, they always think that they sold up. Remember when Morgan Tsvangirai was still alive, they used to say he ended up being the prime minister of the country. They used to say we will not be made to change the constitution by people under a tree. Remember, they ended up changing the constitution. They did a lot of things. They will be made. We do not reform for ZANU-PF, we reform for the people of Zimbabwe. These documents that we are producing are for the Our buy-in is not to beg ZANU-PF for reform. Our buy-in is from the people of Zimbabwe. Once their collective will within the documents, within the principles, we will have a constitution, we will have a new electoral law, and we will have a new government, and we will have a new president sooner rather than later.
In fact, just as an addition there, Councillor Mafume, you know, freedom is never a Father Christmas affair. Freedom is not donated. And we don't expect ZANU-PF to be the donor because they can't donate. They are not the source of freedom. If anything, they are the source of oppression. So, up to our oppressors for their magnanimity to donate to us our freedom. We will demand our freedom. We will demand our rights. We will demand free and fair elections. And that's why it is about you and me and not ZANU. There's this misnomer to always think that is about MDC, ZANU, it's Chamisa. Nobody has got the title deeds of this country. ZANU is a phenomenon that only came into being in 1963. This country, this soil, was there before 1963. So why should a country, a party that came in 1963, be the source of the problems in this country? And why should we allow it? Zimbabwe is not ZANU. ZANU is Zimbabwe. But the people of Zimbabwe are the definition of Zimbabwe. So we don't care what they say. They must understand that reforms are Mnangagwa, reform or deform. That's our message. Reform, you will deform. Shape up or ship up.